Are there problem areas in your home or homeschool? Maybe you see something that you need to work on with your kids, something to help your family run more smoothly. Whatever it is, you can fix it starting today. You get to decide. You can decide what's important, what not to focus on, what direction we're heading. You can chart the course in your own family. We have a full house today. You may notice an extra person at our table. My daughter had a friend over who is also homeschooled, so she just spent the morning with us. It doesn't always work for me to have all the kids at the table. This is a lot, but this morning it was working. They were all entertained. Otherwise, I probably would have had some kids go to the desks in their room or to another area, just wherever everybody needs to go to be able to concentrate. But this was working this morning. One thing that some people don't realize unless you're in the homeschooling world is that it's not uncommon to have friends over in the middle of the day, to have play dates in the middle of the day. Once our kids can drive, they will sometimes take a younger sibling, go out and meet friends at a coffee shop and do their schoolwork there for the older kids. So this is one huge advantage of homeschooling. People sometimes think that homeschoolers are just home all day with their own siblings, but this is not always true in our family. A lot of times we are getting together with friends, we're having friends over, meeting up with them. As a homeschooler where we live in Pennsylvania, on the one hand, there is a vibrant community that not everyone knows about. And on the other hand, you do have to work to make friends. You can't just expect your community to come to you. Here I'm working with William on subtracting double-digit numbers.
Yes, 23 minus 3
I am
is
not my own?
73 minus 40 is what?
What did you put? Sing it.
Oh, is that or whatever. Minus 7 more. Yes.
Hey, that's constellation.
Wow, good job.
William is one of our kids who just loves to play games. And he'll play Yahtzee, all kinds of card games. And I honestly think he has learned more about adding and subtracting from playing Yahtzee than he has from our math curriculum. I love our math curriculum. We do Singapore. It works really well for our family. But definitely when you spend a lot of time playing games or when you just don't have a screen always available to your kids, they end up playing more games and they learn so much through them. Our older kids are here about 2 or 3 days a week. So about 2 days a week, they're at co-op. Our older son, who's 17, also works 1 day a week. So for them to be home 2 or 3 days a week is really just the sweet spot for us. It's enough for them to get out of the house, and it's enough for us to keep our family life central and just to maintain a schedule that's not busy, not hurried, where they're just being rushed from activity to activity. We still have plenty of family time. One thing I love about homeschooling is that we get to decide as parents what's important to us. We get to decide how busy our kids are, what we focus on. We don't necessarily have to teach everything, but we can decide who's teaching it, what's being taught, how often or how much time we're spending on a certain subject. Here I'm working with James on area and perimeter.
I just want to tell you, when I'm trying to find perimeter, I usually just put like a little starting point so that I know. And then I just go all the way around, just like a clock. That way you can kind of check and know that you didn't make mistakes. Okay, so for this one, it's the same thing. You're just dividing it into whatever rectangles you want to measure it by. And there's different ways to do it. You know, you can do it like, you can divide it into 1, 2, 3. Or you could divide it into 1, 2, 3. It's just however you want to do it. So I think the easiest way would be to divide it like this. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing.
I've had some people ask me about the noise level, how kids can focus when there is noise, and this is something that I have to really keep tabs on. It can get loud because we have a house full of kids. And so sometimes I'll pull kids aside and work one-on-one in a place that's away from everything else, or I'll take them to my bedroom where it's nice and quiet. They can also work in their rooms, and we've just found ways to make it work. We're stopping here for a mid-morning snack. For those of you who are here for the first time, my name is Sherry. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Nelson, and together we've been raising our 10 kids and homeschooling right from the start. I love encouraging other moms here on my YouTube channel and on the blog ourlifehomeschooling.com, where you can find a plethora of homeschool resources, book lists, interviews with other everyday homeschool moms, ideas for morning time, and just lots of fun things for you over there. Now, I don't know about you, but in our family, in our home, we can have problems from time to time. We have struggles. Sometimes I'll notice an area that one of my kids is just struggling with that I want to focus on or do something to help them. Or sometimes we have bad attitudes or character flaws or struggle to keep up with the housework. All of the normal things that are happening in other families, we have them. And what I love about homeschooling is that we get to decide what's important. We can chart our own course. And if we realize that we really need to work on some math skills, then we can focus on that as much as we want to. If we want our kids to explore and discover things by going out and going to museums, to different field trips, community events, we can do that. We don't have to get anyone's permission. Our homeschool can look however we want it to look, and I love that. As someone who comes from a traditional school background, I taught in the public schools for a couple years before staying home to teach my kids. I can appreciate the freedom that we have in homeschooling. Here, Julia and I are making a bacon, spinach, and cheese quesadilla. These were very tasty for lunch. A favorite for sure. But I definitely appreciate the freedom that we have in homeschooling. I remember being in the classroom, and if there was something that I knew my kids really needed or individual kids needed, I wasn't able to stop and just do that. There were so many administrative tasks and hurdles that you just had to jump through to be able to get things done. If you wanted to go on a field trip, that had to be planned way in advance. But here in our home, I can do whatever I think my kids need. I told you last week about a day we had where we were just stuck in a rut. We were tired of getting up and doing the same thing every day. So we dropped everything, went out for a hike in the woods, and it was glorious. It was the best thing we could have done. We had such a great time. We came back. Everyone's moods were changed. They were excited to sit down and do our afternoon reading. It was perfect. And we can do this as homeschoolers. What is it?
It looks like a maple ball.
No, it's from the sycamore tree. There's sycamore, and when you crush it, those are sycamore seeds.
I think for those of us who were never homeschooled, like myself, we've been so ingrained in traditional schooling in that model that we don't tend to think outside of the box to what our kids need, to what's best for our family and for our home. And we forget that we have the freedom to just stop everything and prioritize what's important to us. For many years, my husband worked swing shifts. And during this time, our oldest two kids are boys. And when they were young, they would often see my husband working out in the garage. He's a real hands-on person, very mechanical, always building something, making something. And It was so much more beneficial for them to be beside him, watching him take things apart, put them back together, than sitting in and doing longer lessons. So this is the kind of outside the box thinking that I think we forget about as homeschoolers. Yes, the basics are important. Reading, writing, and math, getting in those foundational subjects. And I love an excellent education. I want my kids to be well-rounded in the arts, in history and science. All that is so important to me, but I also think we need to stop and remember that we're the parents and we get to decide what's important to us for our kids to learn.
His shoulder straps. Look, he's missing a button.
Yeah, they have to get a button strap, like, so we can, there's another button.
But no one seemed to want the small bear in green overalls. Is that a policeman? Yeah. Then one morning, a little girl stopped in and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. Do you see the bear? There's Corduroy. There's the girl.
Daddy!
Oh, Mommy, she said, look, there's the very bear I've always wanted. Not today, dear, her mother replied. I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new.
I just love reading to my kids. I always have. I always will. I recently did a blog post on our favorite rhyming books for preschool age kids, and I kind of got a little nostalgic writing this post because I've read these books to my kids so many times over the years. They've just become old friends. Here I'm reading Paddle to the Sea. This is another favorite of ours by Hauling C. Hauling. And in this part of the story, Paddle, the little canoe, goes to Niagara Falls. This was really fun because after we were done, we went online and watched Niagara Falls webcam live. And it was really cool for them to just see what's going on there right now. We even just saw some news stories from the past, different things that have happened at Niagara Falls. We found it on the map. Really fun little lesson there. This is a new school day, and our older kids are at co-op. So this is a little quieter day for us. And these days are ones that I like to focus a little bit more closely on my younger crew, just checking in with them where they need help, what they're struggling with, just looking ahead to what books I want them to read and different things like that. I also like to read to each of my kids individually. I have one book I'm reading. It may take us the whole year, and I'm okay with that, but just that time that I get one-on-one with each of them. With Afton, I'm reading Leonardo da Vinci. I think this is by Emily Hahn. With James, I'm reading The Little Duke. With Julia, we're going through Paddle to the Sea. That I'm doing with Julia and Will. And here we are doing another bird in the Burgess Bird Book. Today we're learning all about the English sparrow, or it's sometimes called the house sparrow. And it's nicknamed Bully because it always kicks other birds out of their nests, and the kids always think that's interesting. Back to the freedom we have in homeschooling to decide what's important for our families and our kids. I'd love to hear from you if you have something that you decided was important and you just totally dropped what you were doing, totally changed course. I think of just one time where our housework was getting so far behind and I felt like I was buried, so we stopped and made that our focus for the day. Another time a few years ago, I remember it was really important to me and my husband that our kids knew all the instruments in the orchestra. And we have a local orchestra that plays in the city, and they allow you to come for free once a month. So we put it on the calendar. We made sure we were there once a month to sit in on the orchestra, and that was important to us. So leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you if there's something like this that's kind of changed the course for you. I hope this video has been encouraging to you. If you'd like to see more content like this, take a look at the video I did last week. Are you overthinking homeschooling? Thanks for joining me. I do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. I'll see you next week.